Hey everyone, Billy from Miso Hitomoji here. I'm in front of Nagoya Castle. You can see right there. Just out front of the road, people driving by, taxi drivers on break. You can see these guys in the background. But anyways, coming to you with our poem for the day. It is by, sorry there. It is by Hōjō Masamura, and of course we'll do the poem and then the poet, and then we'll share a few thoughts about both of those. You don't need to see my ugly face anymore. I'm going to switch to the camera and let you get a better look at the castle and the moat. All right, so our poem today in Japanese is Kishikata zo tsukihi ni soete shinobaruru mata meguri au mukashi naraneba. So that translates something to like, the years gone by make days of past seem even more desirable, but it's a past that we can never return to. And that was written by Hōjō Masamura. Hōjō Masamura was, I believe, the 7th shiken of the Kamakura era. Now, the shiken was a position, I think everybody knows what like the shogun is, or we've heard of, English pronunciation shogun. The Kamakura period was nominally ruled by the Minamoto shogunate, but that's not really, the Minamoto family didn't really have any kind of power. So the way the power structure worked was the first Kamakura shogunate was Minamoto no Yoritomo, and he actually held power. His wife, though, was Hōjō Masako. Now, the Hōjō family was from the Izu area. Shout out to my friends from Shizuoka. And they supported Yoritomo in his quest to fight against the Taira family, which was ruling Japan at the time. They were successful. The Yoritomo took control of the country and established his government in Kamakura, and it's called the Kamakura Bakufu. Bakufu is just a military government. Now, what we need to know are 3 different position titles. We've got Shiken, then we've got Tokuso, and we've also got Rensho. And what the Shiken was, Yoritomo's father-in-law was Hōjō Tokimasa, I believe. And Hōjō Tokimasa, he was not the nicest of guys. He was a real son of a bitch. He wanted to kind of pull the strings and be the big boss in the country. So his grandson was Minamoto no Yoriie. That was Yoritomo's son. He had Yoriie taken from power and assassinated, and they put his younger brother Minamoto no Sanetomo into the position as a shogun, while the Shiken, which is like a regent, Shiken was Hōjō Tokimasa. Remember, that is Yoritomo's father-in-law. That would make him the grandfather of Yoriie, who, again, he had killed, and also the grandfather of Sanetomo, who he also had killed. So the Hōjō family was basically putting people into the position of shogun, but the shogun didn't have any power. It was the Hōjō family, most notably the Shiken, again, the regent position, which had power. There was also the position of the Rensho, and that was the assistant to the Shiken. And then there was the Tokuso, and the Tokuso was the head of the Hōjō family. So those are 3 different positions. Now, our poem for today, Masamura, he was first the Shiken, the 7th Shiken, and then he was succeeded by Hōjō Tokimune, who was the 8th Shiken. And Tokimune is famous for being the person in charge during the Mongol invasions of Japan. And he had his work cut out for him, trying to scramble to get people to resist the Mongols coming, establish naval defenses and all kinds of stuff. So Masamura actually went from being shikken to becoming Hōjō Tokimune's assistant, or the Rensho. So, Masamura was there. He was helping Tokimune with all of this involvement with the Mongol invasions. And originally the positions of Shikken, Rensho, and Tokuso, those are, 3 different people. Tokimune was such a hard ass, though, that he was the first person to hold all 3 of the titles simultaneously. So, he had a lot on his plate. And Tokimune eventually died pretty young, and people think he died from kind of, I think, overwork or stress, which would make sense. I'm talking a lot about Tokimune today. Oh, hey, there's a little bee down here. You wonder why I just didn't do a poem by Tokimune. Well, I already did a poem by Tokimune earlier on. I don't remember quite when, but you can go back through our Instagram feed and check that out if you want poems by him. Maybe he was a bit too busy to be writing poems. Anyways, Masamura, though, he did also have a big part in history. He was a ruler for his time, and then also played a part in helping to fight against the Mongol invasion. So that's a little bit about Hōjō Masamura. Now, the poem itself, it's the way that I thought about it was, Masamura is longing for, the good days, the days of his youth. And kind of as time goes by, the further you get away from those kind of, like your salad days, the better they seem. Like as time passes by, things in the past seem more and more ideal. And you would think that somebody who is, the most powerful person in the country would have enough on his plate, have enough good things going for him, that he wouldn't really be longing for the past. But you can see that longing for returning to the way things were and resisting change, that's something that it doesn't matter what position you are, it doesn't matter how much money you have or how much power you have. That's like a fundamental human urge or a fundamental human longing that kind of return to innocence in a sense, I guess. Back in the time when you were young, you understood things better, things seemed simpler. And that, that persists to today. I can understand that happening in myself. And so the message that I got from the poem was that regardless of how well off you are, you're going to have to face that very natural human instinct to want to cling to things and want to keep things the way they were, or to be able to go back to the way things were. And that is impossible. That's something that we can't ever do. Interestingly enough, I saw just news today about how scientists reached some sort of breakthrough with DNA sequencing or whatnot that unlocked like the gene for longevity and how to increase our longevity through research into this gene. And I just thought, kind of like, what for? Even if you stay a relatively younger age, time is still going to go by. You're still going to lose people in your life. Like, it's not so much that because you're old, you don't want to live, or because you're old, things get worse. It's like the world changes, and you eventually find yourself living in a world that you don't feel like you belong to anymore. You don't feel comfortable in anymore. I think that's the challenge of aging. It's not like necessarily the physicality of it. Things don't seem foreign and alien to you because your age changes. Things seem foreign and alien to you because time passes. Time passes you by. And so you could live to be 200 years old, but it's not like you would, escape the same problems that Masamura is talking about today. You're going to lose friends. Things are going to change. Trends are going to change. Social mores are going to change. And you either have to change with them and adapt with them, or, remove your expectation that things are going to stay the same, or, you're going to face the pain that Masamura writes about today. It reminds me of, I think this will be the first time in history that anybody ever makes an allusion to the American Pie series of movies when talking about Japanese classical poetry. But I remember at the end of one of the American Pie movies, maybe it was 2, where, they go to the summer house and they all come back at the end of the summer, and they've bonded even more, and they've had these adventures together, and they're just like sitting around a table in a restaurant that they started the movie in, and it's just like a group of friends, you know, from childhood, and they're kind of coming of age together, and they're reflecting on their experiences over the summer. And I remember watching it years ago and just like getting nostalgic, like thinking how much I would give to have that experience with my friends again. Not only like the age, you know, just getting older and wanting to go back to those days, but also the fact that I live in Japan now, which is so far away from my friends that I hardly ever get to see them. So like sitting there and just looking at those guys at a table in a restaurant together, I thought, you know, oh, how lucky are they? Anyways, that's all I got for today. Sorry for rambling. Thank you for everybody for subscribing and leaving the comments. Really appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. Sorry, we just got dude. And have you guys seen these before? Do they have these in America now? They got these jackets that have their own fans in them that keep you climate controlled in your own body. Anyways, sorry. Again, thank you for subscribing and sharing. Appreciate all the support, and hopefully I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Thank you.